So Bloomberg talks to Piers Morgan about gun control.
Yes.
Did you watch this thing?
Nah, I saw the highlights. I saw the clips. The mayor, I guess he thinks he's doing the right thing, whatever, but...
I don't mind that he's talking about it.
He's a Budinsky.
It's way better than talking about dumb, sugary drinks.
Sugary drinks.
At least he's fucking bringing it up. It's a tough topic for these politicians. They're all scared to talk about it.
Yeah.
You're not going to hear Romney or Obama talk about gun control.
Especially around re-election time.
You're not going to hear a peep out of those guys about gun control or how they feel until after the election.
But Mayor Bloomberg is a little out of touch also,
She is. Well, let's go through the audio and see where the problems are.
What is your personal interpretation?
Well,
what do you think the Founding Fathers intended?
I wasn't there. But we have a mechanism under our Constitution that the Founding Fathers put in to answer exactly that question. It's called the Supreme Court, the judicial system up to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court has ruled that you have a right to bear arms, but reasonable restrictions can be applied in terms of the kind of arms, the number of arms, who can buy them, and that sort of thing. And that's what really matters. It doesn't matter what you think or I think. It matters what the Supreme Court thinks and what the legislature does. And you come back to the history of the country. We started out with our muskets, and today here we are where some people think everybody should be armed. There was a congressman that I heard quoted, I didn't hear him directly, but he was quoted as saying, if we had armed everybody in that theater, then somebody would have pulled a gun and shot the young kid who killed 12 people and injured 50-odd. I don't know that you would want to or have your kids in that theater. When everybody starts shooting, who knows who is the one that's going to get shot? Pretty soon it's a circular firing squad.
Here's what's annoying about him. Like, he wouldn't answer what he thought the Founding Fathers meant. We understand. This is why they're all so hateable. We understand what the judicial process is, but what do you think they meant by that?
Yeah.
Why don't you just answer the question?
Right. What do you think?
What do you think? He's asking you what you think.
We have the Supreme Court to tell us.
None of these guys will answer the questions.
That's just awful.
Because it'll alienate their potential voters in a lot of cases.
Well, Bloomberg has armed security.
Right.
So for him, it doesn't. Why don't you walk around without armed security then?
Yeah, go ahead. Give that a whirl.
Oh, that's right. You're a billionaire. Even believe me, even if it wasn't for fucking him being mayor. Oh, that's right. For you, it's different, right? For you.
Yep.
Bloomberg talks about the current gun laws.
I mean, for example, if I wanted to buy an assault weapon and a load of ammunition on the internet, for example, and I lived in New York, even with the laws that you have, and they're more stringent than many places in America, have you got anywhere stopping me?
You can't stop everything, but you can stop most of it. The federal government passed laws restricting the ability to buy certain kinds of weapons, assault weapons. Law expired or wasn't renewed. That you can't sell, that people with minors can't buy, and drug addicts and psychiatric problems and criminals can't buy it. The trouble is, then the federal government, in the usual wink-wink of passing a law to satisfy one group but telling the other group, don't worry about it, we'll make sure it doesn't get enforced, they didn't fund any of the enforcement, and there's no database that you have to check against, or at least not a complete database. What we've got to do is say, look, we just cannot continue this kind of carnage.
No. So what? Enforce the laws, then. Enforce the fucking laws that are in place. I'm all for that. Believe me, I don't like what illegal gun owners do, either.
Can we can we make the laws even tougher, way tougher?
How do you do that? And when you're not enforcing the ones that are there now, why make new ones? It's ridiculous. Just enforce. There are plenty of laws in place to prevent people.
We don't
from
really
getting
enforce
their hands
the
on
laws.
shit. No, they're really not enforced that well.
In what way?
In New York, they are. I mean, he's talking about buying shit off the internet. It's very difficult to legally buy stuff off the internet like that.
This guy was stockpiling for a while.
People think you can...
Some people say there should have been a red flag that was raised because of all the buying he was doing online.
Yeah. Red flag raised to who?
I don't know.
By the way,
question.
And then when the red flag is raised, who then has to look and assess if that's a problem? I was asked last night, do you think 6,000 rounds of ammunition is excessive to buy online? And I said, well, who's buying it? Is it a guy that runs a range that might want to have ammunition there for people that come in, a private range? Is it a guy that's buying ammo for all his buddies, so when they go out on a weekend, they all have a fuckload of ammo to shoot or hunt with or whatever?
Wouldn't that be easy to check if it's a range guy?
Again, who's checking?
I don't know. I'm just
another government agency, and then
hold on? Who would check something like that? You think?
I have no idea. That's just it.
Because you know
who's
more
checking?
about this than
couldn't local law enforcement?
They always say, but then do you want local law enforcement coming to you and saying like, why are you buying ammunition? And then you got to come up with a good reason. And then what if they say, I don't like your reason? They can make it so you can't get it. I'm just saying, this is another government agency that will be up your ass and know that you are a person that has guns, know which guns you have, know where you keep. This is something that, I don't care what the court says, the Founding Fathers never wanted the government in charge of your weaponry.
I'll say this, they didn't, and you're right, but they also didn't have this problem when they were talking. First of all, everyone back then had guns, so they did not have a problem with gatherings of people just shot up by lunatics at schools. Like it's a phenomenon they didn't have to deal with, and I don't want anybody just questioning everyone who buys ammunition, but I do think that as the public, we have the right to know if someone's buying 600 rounds. You're right. There's
6,000.
Oh, 6,000. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's plenty of legitimate people who will be buying that. Like you said, a range owner. There are, I'm sure, ways to weed out people who are legit automatically and immediately. I don't want
who's going to determine if you're the one that can buy 6,000 rounds? And then if it's not 6,000 rounds, how many rounds is it?
Right.
Is it 4,000? Is it 500? And what determines that you are fit to buy that many rounds?
Did they buy it from all kinds of different... Was he buying from different places?
I don't know.
I'm imagining he was.
What's excessive for an average gun owner? Ammunition. I don't even know that.
I don't know. I went through boxes of fucking ammo yesterday.
Yeah, if you go to the range.
I just went to the range, and for an hour and a half, I was just blasting.
How many did you shoot off, you think? Or rounds?
I took fucking 50.
If you had to guess.
Let me think. I had boxes of 50, and I went through 100. I probably blew off like 300 rounds around there, and that's one day at the range. An hour and a half. At the range.
300 rounds.
About 300 rounds. Yeah, about 300 rounds.
So when
6,000 just seems like a lot.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
But when you're just going pop, 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 pop at a range or something,
right?
Or you go through it very quickly.
And you got the right answers. Yeah. How do we do that? And who's responsible for that?
Saying
and is that something we want as a society? I don't know. It just seems like. I don't know. It seems like there should have been some kind of red flag if all of a sudden this guy out of nowhere is buying all sorts of shit.
That's just it. With this guy's case, this guy was such an anomaly in this situation.
Which doesn't help anybody because like we said yesterday, you know, the guy only had a speeding ticket. That's it.
Very hard to determine that this guy wasn't fit.
And average grades in med school, I guess. That's all we really know about his background.
Lots of red flags pop up in hindsight. It's easy to say that.
Good point.
But this guy could have just been anybody. If you would have kept him from buying a gun, you really are cutting out everybody because the guy fit all of the rules and regulations to buying a gun.
That hurts the NRA's case.
It does. It's
a lot.
I hate the fact that he did this, but people also need to know that these things do happen. People aren't fucking very predictable. They're not robots, machines. It's very hard to tell if someone's going to lose their fucking mind.
People are just, people already know the illegal guns aren't going to get off. It's hard because it's an avoidable thing. I mean, it is an avoidable fucking thing, but. I don't know, man. I don't even know what I'm saying. I guess I hear both sides of it. And
it's very hard to come up with an answer.
It's extremely complicated.
Very complicated.
It's not that easy to solve, obviously.
A lot of people say things, but they don't take it the next step and say, all right, how is that going to be enacted? How would this be enforced? What government agency would then take care of checking on this and checking on that? And then if they do check, what's their criteria for you being able to do something? Yet, like, no one wants to go to that point. They're just like, well, we ought to, there was a red flag. They ought to have said, red flag. Okay, the gun shop owner is supposed to report somebody for being, what, a little weird? I don't know what people are looking for.
I just think if you're a gun shop, you have a huge responsibility. And I just wonder, if there's more those guys should be doing. I don't know.
There are plenty of gun shop owners that have seen people that are weird and just don't sell to them. It's happened.
Right.
But there are ones that'll sell to anybody.
Shit, right?
I know.
What drives me nuts is when this shit goes down, they obsess about the assault rifles. When, the real problem in this country is the amount of people dying from handguns.
Yeah.
Handguns is way more dangerous than assault rifles.
Yeah, handguns are the.
But
they
they obsess like, oh, we got to get rid of these assault rifles, and then everything will be okay. Really?
Yeah, 4%.
People are dying every day from handgun violence.
But and also, I got
a lot more people
illegal handguns.
Yeah, fair enough.
Illegal handgun violence, and that is key. I mean, people are under the impression that you could just walk into a store and buy a machine gun. So many people are under the impression that no matter what state you're in, you could just walk into a store, buy a full automatic machine gun, and shoot up a fucking school or a theater or what have you.
So you shouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
But they would say to you, well, this guy got one. I mean, not a machine gun, but an assault rifle. Right.
Yeah, but he didn't.
Right.
He
was able to get one legally.
He was able to get a semi-automatic rifle legally. Yeah.
Right.
Yes, because he fit the bill. As far as handguns go, I don't know what other states, I've never lived in other states and had pistols. But in New York, I literally have to go to the police station, get a piece of paper, go to the gun store, buy the gun. They fill out a thing on that piece of paper, take the gun and the piece of paper back to the police station, where they then check the gun, write down the serial number, take another piece of that little paper off, and put it in their file, and then I could take it home with me.
Yeah, you're here to say that it's not as easy as people would assume.
It's not always as easy. Online purchases. If I want to buy something online, I have to go online, pick out what gun I want, have them ship it to a gun store. Let's say, the Coliseum gun traders I use in Uniondale. They ship it to them.
Oh.
Yes, they have to ship it to the gun store, not to my house. Okay. And then I have to go through the same rigmarole. I got to go to the precinct. I got to get the piece of paper. I go to the gun store. He charges a little fee for the transfer, but it's exactly like buying a gun from him, only I paid the online thing.
I assumed, like most, that you probably got a FedEx box.
Yeah. No, you get a FedEx box. Hey, it's another gun.
Look at this.
No, it has to go through
What about this clown?
And
did he have to do that, you think? Or were there laws different in Colorado?
I don't know what Colorado's laws are for purchasing pistols.
Online shit.
I think that's fair, though.
And I have, first of all, I had to have my license in order to even buy a gun like that online and go through my gun shop to do it. With that license, I go through a rigorous background check. Every purchase I make, every time I go in to buy a pistol or a rifle, I get an FBI check is done on me. A new one. Brand new one. Every gun I buy.
I think that's fair. And like what Anthony has would be considered excessive if you were looking at like people red flags.
Yeah.
If Anthony snapped tomorrow, no one would be shocked, but I mean, people would say, wow, why didn't that raise red flags?
Right.
But Anthony's not going to snap, so he's just a responsible gun owner with a bunch of guns. But I think that's fair, though. Even if it's annoying, you have to go through that.
I do understand.
I'm okay with that.
I am for some of these types of restrictions. I just don't like the fact that there are so many restrictions on the ability to even get the gun. Like, once you get over that hurdle, then I don't really have many problems with the going to the precinct, getting the form, getting the gun, going back to the precinct. It's a pain in the ass, but look, it's a gun. I do understand this. But New York State, and especially New York City, will deny you the ability to even go through those hoops, even if you're completely fine, with no record or anything. They could determine, because you didn't fill out your paperwork properly, or there's so many things that can happen in New York State. The city, forget about it. They could just tell you no for no fucking reason. You have to have a reason to have a pistol in New York City. And then go through all those things anyway.
Yeah.
It's very, I don't mind the restrictions to purchase the gun. I do mind the restrictions on even being allowed to purchase a gun.
Number one, can you